जातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये. So continuing to study and discuss from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, second canto, Divinity and Divine Service. Very, very important section. The verses which explain the progress of a practitioner from beginning till the highest level of achieving the attention, affection, and absorption in Krishna. How many of you have memorized these verses? Priyanka, आपने कहाँ तक किया? 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्ण।
18 तक किया।
18 तक किया. Okay. 16th verse किसको याद है? Ganesh, you will recite the 16th verse. You'll recap quickly. Don't look in the book. What is 16th verse?
प्रभु जी 16 अभी मैंने याद नहीं किया अभी.
16 से ही start करना है. You have to begin from 16. At least from 16 in this section. Pranav?
प्रभु जी 17 से किया, 16 नहीं किया.
9. It will, 17 will only come when there is 16th. Without 16th, you cannot come to 17th. Pradeep?
Prabhuji, I am 15th only.
15th?
16th not started, Prabhuji.
When you will start? Dayashil? You are not hearing Dayashil Prabhu? Okay, yes, Ravinder Prabhu, you start.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, मेरा 17 18 ही किया हूँ, 16 नहीं किया.
मैं 16 पूछ रहा हूँ तो आप 17 18 का गाना क्यों कर रहे हो?
प्रियंका हाथ उठाई.
ओके, तो प्रियंका से तो मैंने पूछा तो शी सेड 17 से किया.
नो नो प्रभु जी, मैंने कहा 18 तक किया, 16 17 18।
वेरी गुड, बोलिए.
शुश्रूषो श्रद्धानस्य वासुदेवं कथारुचि षण्महत्सेवया विप्र पुण्यतीर्थानि सेवनात्।
Very good. What are the stages in this verse?
महत् कृपा प्रभु जी।
Not Kripa, Mahat Seva also.
हाँ,
Syan Mahat Sevaya, and also there is Shraddha. Shraddha. Shushrushya Shraddha-dhanasya. Shraddha in both the devotee and the Supreme Lord, and also in the process. Next verse, 17th verse. Ravindra Prabhu.
Sarvatam sa katha Krishna punyam sravana kirtanam idyantasto abhadrani vidunati sruhut satam nashta
Very
pray.
good. No, that is 18th. Stop at 17th.
Yes.
What are the stages in the 17th verse?
Prabhuji,
Remove the heart from Shraddha.
Shraddha, to eagerness to hear the glories of the Supreme Lord.
Very good. So what is it called? The eagerness to hear is which limb?
Punya Sravana.
Yeah, what is Punya Shravana? Bhajan Kriya.
Yes.
Bhajan Kriya. And Vidunoti Suhit Sitam. Bhajan Kriya and also Anarth Nivritti. Hṛdaya-antasto hi abhadrani. It removes all those unwanted thing which is there in the heart. Okay. 18th verse. Pranab.
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भागवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी.
So what are the stages?
All the dirt of the heart become cleansed.
How the dirt of the heart becomes cleansed?
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, by daily hearing.
Yes, but daily. So when one is daily hearing, all the unwanted things are being removed and his attraction for Krishna is revoked. He comes to the stage of nishtha. He becomes fixed. As Prabhupada says, irrevocable. He comes into irrevocable loving service to the Lord. 19th verse, Dayashil. What is the 19th?
Total verse I do not remember.
Make an attempt. Otherwise, when will that now after this, when will there be time? Some you'll get some more extra time.
No.
Study Bhagavatam once again on your own. If now or never.
The verse is like Rajas Tamo.
Okay, you give me the translation and the stages.
So here the mode of passion and ignorance they diminish only, and one comes to the stage of pure goodness.
What is the stage? The effect and the influence of the lower mode, it is Rajas and Tama. And from what is the bhava of Rajas and Tama? Is Kama Lobha. So the mind is no longer affected by Rajas and Tamas, by the material infatuations. There is no effect of lust, greed, and anger on the mind. That means the mind is transformed. Cheta eter anavriddhim. It is not disturbed. It is not agitated. Why? Because it is sattvam prasidate, stitam sattve prasidate. It is fixed in Krishna. So what his taste has come? He has developed the higher taste. He has already received and tasted the higher taste. Only ruchi and asakti. And he is no longer distracted by the effect of the lower modes. Lust, greed, anger, illusion, envy, all these things cannot influence him or impact his mind. So he is sthitam sattve prasidhate. He's completely fixed up. His asakti for Krishna and things related to Krishna has been matured, has been fully developed. We did the 20th verse yesterday? Or will we have to do it from today? Ganesh?
Yesterday we have completed project 20 completed.
Okay. So what is the effect of the lower modes influence being terminated? One is into ruchi and asakti. Then it comes to the higher stage. Evam prasanna manaso. That his mind is enlivened, it becomes joyful. Prasanna manaso. And a higher sentiment or feeling develops. What is that? Bhakti, Bhagavad Bhakti Yogata. His mind is enlivened and ecstatic in performing devotional service. Bhagavad Bhakti Yogata. And by applying the process of Krishna consciousness, by being engaged in devotional service, what he experiences is Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam. Very beautiful. The Tattva, the supreme absolute truth, Dharmadhyasya yataha, is experienced by him. He experiences the Lord's form, his qualities, his pastime, his sweetness. And he does the anubhava. Anubhava. Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam. Vijnanam means the realization or the experience. And his Mukta Sangha. He is freed from the three modes, the influence of three modes, liberated. Mukta Sangasya jayate. He is free from the influence of the three modes. And also means he is completely detached. So this is the stage of Rati, or it is called Bhava. Intense attraction towards Krishna. We will take the 21st verse. Material existence, there is a very hard knot. What is this hard knot? So by hearing, he has come to the stage of bhidyate. It pierces the knot which has been prevailing in the heart from the childhood. It is very nicely explained in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. What is hṛdaya-granthiś āhuḥ? Anyone knows what is the hṛdaya-granthiś? Bhāgavatam talks about it very vividly. What is the hṛdaya-granthiś? It is the hard knot. It is there in the heart. Hard knot in the heart, which no one can open or release. Well, what is that hard knot? Yes, Dayashil Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. All the bodily attachment, Prabhuji, bodily attachment.
What is that?
Family, friend, and to own body.
It is given in the 5th canto, 5th verse, 5th chapter, 8th verse of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. You want to see that verse? This is what is the hard knot of materialism. No one can be freed from that hard knot. There is no possibility of being freed. Here it is saying bhidyate hṛdaya-granthiś. It releases one from the hard knot. What is that hard knot? This is from 5th canto, 5th chapter. From the 5th canto, 5th chapter, we saw some verses. Anyone remembers which verse we saw? Okay. puṁsaḥ striyā mithunī-bhāvam etaṁ tayor mitho hṛdaya-granthiṁ āhuḥ. This is hṛdaya-granthim. So, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, what it does, that it releases, it cuts the hard knot. Now, what is this hard knot? It is puṁsaḥ striyā mithunī-bhāvam etaṁ tayor mitho hṛdaya-granthiṁ āhuḥ. Ato gṛha-kṣetra-sutāpta-vittair janasya moho ahaṁ mameti. This is what Dayashil Prabhu was also mentioning. What is this hard knot? The attraction between male and female. This is the basic principle of material existence. On the basis of this misconception, which ties together the heart of male and female, one becomes attracted to body, home, property, children, relatives, and wealth. In this way, one increases life's illusion and thinks in terms of I and mine. So, Bhagavatam releases we'll go back. Here it is said that Bhagavatam will release one from this hṛdaya-granthi, from this hard knot of material attraction of opposite gender. Bhidyate hṛdaya-granthiś and chidyante sarva-saṁśayāḥ. And it will cut to pieces all samshaya, all kind of doubts on illusions, or Prabhupada gives here as misgivings that we have in our heart. And chidyante cāsya karmāṇi, and it will terminate the karmic chain of reaction of fruitive action, sarva-karmāṇi. Not only one's karma will be released, but the reaction that one will receive from performing fruitive action, that also will be completely cut, chidyante. And what will be the result? dṛṣṭa evātmanīśvare. Dṛṣṭa means to see. What he sees? Atmana. He can see the self, and he can also see the Ishvara, his super soul. Thus the knot in the heart is pierced and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive action is terminated when one sees oneself and one's master. Very important. The chain of fruitive action is terminated when one sees oneself, that is called self-realization, and one's master, that is the realization of the self as spirit. One sees oneself, and one also sees the super soul, who is the master of all. Attaining scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead means seeing one's own self simultaneously. So many times we have discussed that God realization already includes self-realization. So far as the identity of the living being as spirit soul is concerned, there are numbers of speculation and misgivings. The materialist does not believe in the existence of the spirit self. These are the karmis. And the empiric philosophers believe in the impersonal feature of the whole spirit without individuality of the living being. So these are jnanis. But the transcendentalist affirms that the soul and the super soul are two different identities. Qualitatively one, but quantitatively different. There are many other theories, but of all these different speculations are at once cleared off as soon as Sri Krishna is realized in truth by the process of Bhakti Yoga. Sri Krishna is like the sun, and the materialistic speculations about the absolute truth are like the darkest midnight. As soon as Krishna's sun is arisen within one's heart, the darkness of materialistic speculation about the absolute truth and the living being is at once cleared off. Very beautiful. As soon as the Krishna's sun is arisen within one's heart. What is the verse in Bhagavad Gita which talks about this? That this Krishna's sun is arisen within one heart, the darkness of materialistic speculations about the absolute. Krishna says, I personally do that. What is the verse? Now I've given you a big clue. How one comes to this point? From Mahat Seva Satam Kripa Shraddha Guru Pad Ashraya Bhajaneshu Kriya Anarth Nivritti and Nishta, Ruchi and Asakti, and to the extent of coming evam prasanna manaso, to the extent of bhava. What does Krishna declare in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita? How this becomes possible? Tesham eva anukampartham aham ajnana jamtama nashayami ātma-prasādanīm jnanadīpena bhasvata. Krishna says that I, shining with the lamp of knowledge, remove the ignorance and darkness which is there in the heart of my devotee. So as soon as one takes to the process of devotional service, the Krishna sun is arisen in one's heart, and the darkness of materialistic speculations about the supreme absolute truth and the living beings is at once cleared off. In the presence of the sun, the darkness cannot stand, and the relative truths that were hidden within the dense darkness of the ignorance becomes clearly manifested by the mercy of Krishna, who is residing in everyone's heart as the super soul. Okay. Wow. I did not see it. Same verse as Prabhupada has quoted. In the Bhagavad Gita 10:11, the Lord says that in order to show special favor to his pure devotee, he personally eradicates the dense darkness of all misgivings by switching on the light. Prabhupada is saying by switching on the light of pure knowledge within the heart of a devotee. Therefore, because of the personality of Godhead taking charge of illuminating the heart of his devotees, certainly a devotee engaged in his service in transcendental love cannot remain in darkness. कृष्ण है सूर्य सम, माया है अंधकार. जहां कृष्ण तहां नहीं माया रहा अधिकार. Prabhupada is saying here. That the devotee cannot remain in darkness. And because the devotee is enlightened by the personality of Godhead, his knowledge is certainly perfect. Thus, it is not the cause for those who speculate on the absolute truth by the dint of their own limited power or approach. Perfect knowledge is called parampara, or deductive language, coming down from the authority to the submissive oral receiver. How the knowledge is coming down? Deductive knowledge coming down from the authority to the submissive oral receiver, not everyone. An adjective Prabhupada is adding here. Submissive oral receiver. Who is bona fide by service and surrender. One cannot challenge the authority of the Supreme and know him also at the same time. One cannot challenge the authority of the Supreme and know him at the same time. He reserves the right of not being exposed to such a challenging spirit of an insignificant spark of the whole. A spark subjected to the control of the illusionary energy. The devotees are submissive, and therefore the transcendental knowledge descend from the personality of Godhead to Brahma, and from Brahma to his sons and disciples in succession. This process is held by the Supersoul within such devotees. That is the perfect way of learning transcendental knowledge. So it's talking about how one can receive this knowledge by coming in parampara. And how one comes into parampara is by taking shelter, by service and submission to the spiritual master. The enlightenment perfectly enables the devotee to distinguish spirit from the matter, because the knot of spirit and matter is untied by the Lord. The knot is called ahaṁkar. Another vision. hṛdaya-granthiś. One was that puṁsaḥ striyā mithunī-bhāvam. That was one. And the second is called ahaṁkar. And it falsely obliges a living being to become identified with matter. So this we have so many times discussed, that how by the influence of the false ego. The false ego is the first covering, very subtle covering on our consciousness, on our soul. And what this false ego does, it falsely obliges a living being to become identical with matter. As soon as this knot is loosened, therefore all the clouds of doubts are at once cleared off. One sees the master and fully engages himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, making a full termination of the chain of fruitive actions. This is how one can be free from karma. This is mentioned here. When one sees his master and fully engages himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, making a full termination of the chain of fruitive activities. In material existence, a living being creates his own chain of fruitive works and enjoys the good and bad effect of those actions life after life. But as soon as he engages himself in the loving service of the Lord, he at once becomes free from the chain of karma. This action no longer creates any reaction. One more verse, we'll complete this section. अतो वा कवयो नित्यं bhaktiṁ paramayā mudā vasudeve bhagavati kurvanti ātma-prasādanīm. Atah vai kavayo nityaṁ. So this is the conclusion. So now Srila Sut Goswami is giving conclusion. He's already established that who is the Supreme Person and what is the highest occupation. So certainly, therefore, since time immemorial, all transcendentalists have been rendering devotional service to Lord Krishna. So he already said that save puṁsaḥ paro dharma, that the absolute and the ultimate good for everyone is to take shelter of Lord Ram. But did it happen? So bhaktiṁ paramayā mudā. So how bhakti is to be performed? With great delight to the Supreme Lord. So the ultimate and the absolute truth is to perform devotional service. This was the answer, save puṁsaḥ paro dharma. And he explained the progress, the path of progress in the bhakti, at how he progresses from ādau shraddha or mahat seva or satam kripa to the stage of realizing the Supreme Lord. ātmani-eva dṛṣṭa ātmani-eva-īśvare. One sees the Supreme Lord. How? By bhaktiṁ paramayā mudā. By performing, rendering devotional service to the Lord. Certainly, therefore, since time immemorial, all transcendentalists have been rendering devotional service to Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, with great delight. Because such devotional service is enlivening to the self. Kurvanti ātma-prasādanīm. And what was the reply? Yen ātma suprasidati. Yen ātma suprasidati. And here it is Kurvanti ātma-prasādanīm. The speciality of devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, is specifically mentioned herein. Lord Krishna is the Swayam Roop personality of Godhead, and all other forms of Godhead, beginning from Sri Baldev, Sankarshan, Vasudev, Anirudh, Pradyumna, Narayan, and extending to the Purusha avatars, Guna avatar, Leela avatar, Yoga avatar, and many other thousands of manifestations of the personality of Godhead, are Lord Shri Krishna's plenary portion and integrated parts. The living entities are separated parts and parcels of the personality of Godhead. Therefore, Lord Krishna is the original form of Godhead, and he is the last word in the transcendence. Thus, he is more attractive to the higher transcendentalists who participate in his eternal pastimes of the Lord. The form of personality of Godhead, other than Sri Krishna and Baladeva, there is no facilities for intimate personal contact, as in the transcendental pastime of Lord at Brajabhumi. The transcendental pastimes of Lord Shri Krishna are not newly accepted, as argued by less intelligent persons. His pastimes are eternal and are manifested in due course once in a day of Brahma, as the sun rises in the eastern horizon at the end of every 24 hours. So this completes this section. Then we will see the next section from 23rd verse that we will discuss tomorrow. So this set of verses from 16 to 22 practically gives the various stages of what the practitioner is at what level. Okay. I'm extremely exhausted. Feeling so sleepy, cannot even sit. Okay, any question or any discussion? Quickly. Keep studying, keep revising, memorizing. These are very nectarian verses. And keep writing also. I don't see any write-up now these days. No one is writing. Bolo, which stage, where do we stand on this Bhakti Yoga ladder? Lasut Goswami is giving the ladder. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur gives the 14 steps. सताम कृपा महत्सेवा श्रद्धा गुरुपादाश्रय भजनेषु स्पृहा भक्तिर अनार्थोपगमस तथा निष्ठा रुचिर आसक्ति रति प्रेमा and हरेर माधुर्य अनुभवा. हरिर माधुर्य अनुभवा इति अर्थः स्युस् चतुर्दशे. These are the 14 steps or 14 levels. हरे कृष्णा. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय.